Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go Podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. Shout out to y'all for watching this video, and all my others, interacting, subscribing, commenting, sharing, all of those things, which really help me. I truly, truly appreciate y'all. So, how hot is it where y'all at? Y'all know I'm in Baltimore and it's a good 87 degrees, but they say it felt like 94. Y'all, I was glad for the rain yesterday to cool it off just a little bit, but y'all, why I got caught in that rain? I have never been that fully soaked in my life. I promise, like that rain, I promise you, I felt like Dorothy. I thought it was going to pick me up and take me. It was raining so bad. My braids was heavy because they was wet. My sneakers were soaked for like 2 hours until I got home. Y'all, it was crazy, but it did cool it down a little bit. So let me know how's the weather where y'all at. Y'all good? Are y'all drinking y'all water? Make sure you use your sunscreen. Y'all know my favorite is Black Girl sunscreen. It is the bomb. Does not leave any type, especially for us Black folks, does not leave any type of white cast on your face. And my Black Girl sunscreen, I use it in my morning face routine and in my night face routine. Like it's a part of my actual routine. And then I keep some in my car for when I'm driving, in that car driving passengers and delivering groceries, child. But anyway, I wanted to take a quick break, y'all, and get into some, I don't know if it's mess, but another side to this Simon and Porsha. So, y'all, we knew Simon was going to be down to the internet in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as he could get him some good Wi-Fi, and a good setup, he was going to be down here telling his story. We know that him and Portia's divorce was final earlier this month, and we know what Porsha got in her settlement. I'm not going to go over that just yet because I want to talk about something else, which will kind of tie into that. But first up, Simon sat down with Page Six, y'all. There's a couple of points that I wanted to pull out that I saw posted that he talked about. Again, I knew he was going to be down here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You best believe, I bet you. Well, I'm not going to say I bet you, but I wonder if come next season, and and Portia is able to speak about the divorce and what have you and all this other stuff. He'll be right there after after every episode recapping, letting us know what's going on. So let's get into it. First up, let's watch it. Now it was on Page Six, but the Bravo Shade Room on Instagram posted the clips that I actually wanted to see. So I'm glad for that. And then we may get into just a little bit of the Page Six article, in case there's any information that was not captured in these clips. Let's get into it. So he first talks about how he regrets marrying Porsha.
Regret marrying her?
Absolutely. I said to her in one of my text messages to her, because she didn't respond because I kept asking her, why did you file for a divorce? And she wouldn't say anything. I tried to reach her mom. Her mom would not respond either. I later figured out this felt like a coup. When I don't know if you're familiar with. I'm familiar. I say it because I'm from Nigeria, and that we were ruled at one point by the military, and so every so often when you want to change leadership, the president, you stage a coup.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was totally blindsided. I was no member of her family, whether on the mother's side or the father's side, reached out to me. And the only person I actually reached out to was her mom, and she didn't respond. And so I essentially sent.
Do you regret marrying her?
I essentially sent her a text message. I said this was a $5 million rehab project that I took on. She never shared her concerns or issues with me before filing for divorce. If you're married, I've been married quite a bit. I think I understand a little bit about the dynamics of, I should understand a little bit about the dynamics of a relationship.
He said, if you're married, I've been married quite a bit, you should understand the dynamics of a relationship. Child, this is your fourth try. Maybe you still don't understand the dynamics. Okay.
You discuss issues and say, hey, if this does not change or something does not happen, this is what might come of it. Mm-hmm. We never had those discussions, and I'm happy to share with you text messages where I was essentially blindsided by the divorce fight.
I was actually going to ask you if this was something that you saw coming, if conversations had been had prior. What do you think what do you think Portia's reason was to file for divorce?
I think I was targeted.
In what way?
I was targeted from day one for financial reasons. But when I filed for divorce from my previous, ex-wife, she was in my DM. I essentially sent her a text message. I said this was a $5 million rehab project that I took on. She never shared her concerns or issues with me before filing for divorce. If you're married, I've been married quite a bit. I think I understand a little bit about the dynamics of. I should understand a little bit about the dynamics of a relationship. You discuss issues and say, "Hey, if this does not change or something does not happen, this is what might come of it." Mm-hmm. We never had those discussions, and I'm happy to share with you text messages where I was essentially blindsided by the divorce fight.
I was actually going to ask you if this was something that you saw coming, if conversations had been had prior. What do you think Portia's reason was to file for divorce?
I think I was targeted.
In what way?
I'm sorry.
I was targeted from day one for financial reasons. But when I filed for divorce from my previous, ex-wife, she was in my DM.
So he's saying when he filed for divorce from Fallon, Porsha was in his DM, which she has said.
Essentially sent her a text message. I said this was a $5 million ex-wife. She was in my DM praying for me. And I think I was in a vulnerable position at that time. And I entertained it. And so it just kind of snowballed from there. Getting engaged in 30 days, who does that? I was out of my goddamn mind to have done that. And of course, I'm paying dearly for it.
Wow.
Ex-wife, she was in my DM praying for me.
Simon said he felt like Porsha and her family staged a coup. I'm sorry. And said he felt like he was targeted for money. They both benefited from this marriage. Let's not act like Simon doesn't like being in the public eye. I'll even go as far as to say doesn't like being on TV. He got the beautiful wife, the TV star. Now, granted, he did want her to stay home. So there is an argument to be made. He didn't want her to work. So there is an argument to be made. Well, did he really want that TV lifestyle because he paid her, her monthly allotment, $30,000 before they got married, $40,000 afterwards, for her to quit all her jobs, housewives included, right? I still do feel like there's a part of him that liked all of that. But then again, I go back to he paid her to not do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Either way, this marriage benefited them both. He got the beautiful, younger wife, and she got security. Whenever she mentions Simon and her feelings for him and their love, she mentions security. And to me, it doesn't come off. And hey, and it's not necessarily a bad thing if women feel this way, but she mentions her security in lifestyle and being taken care of and not being left high and dry like she was with Cordell versus a security in his love. So she was looking for security. She got it. He was looking for somebody on his arm to be his peace, and he got it until he didn't have it no more. But for him to say he was targeted, for someone who has been married now 4 times and who's been around the world, you still can't find your baby. Come on now. It took you until after you were married to realize that you were targeted. Like meaning you should know the game by now. You've had money long enough. You should know the game by now, right? Unless the player got played. So let's move on. Let's look at some other stuff he says. He says Porsha reached out to his children's mother and offered to pay. Now, I'll get into something else about this after we get through this.
She paid child support for your children while you were in ICE custody. What is your reaction to that?
She sent her 2 $2,500 payments in 1 month, and that was it. That didn't even necessarily cover anything. I heard for the first time in court that had happened, And I immediately texted my ex-wife asking her, did she receive any funds from Porsha? She said yes. Porsha reached out to her and offered to give those funds to her. In my opinion, it was not it wasn't done in good faith. It was done to give a narrative in court or to the public that I paid Simon's I paid
Child
Simon's child
support.
support.
Porsha said she paid child support for your children.
Any other expenses that you've covered of his
This was in court.
that was ordered?
Yes, I paid his child support for his two sons. And I also paid maintenance for the house. So that's outside of utilities as well.
Why did you choose to do that?
Well, I really got concerned being that Simon was still detained when it comes to his child support. You know, I'm still married to him at the end of the day, and I just really felt it was unfortunate that they weren't getting any help. The mother had reached out to my assistant and that she was concerned, and she wanted a couple things from the house, but she sounded really concerned. So when I spoke to her, she made me aware that it had not been paid, and so I paid it. His child support.
Any other expenses that you
Now, I will say this. There was some conversation on the internet saying, oh, she did it because of how it looks, or that's not exactly how it went. I will say this. Either way, she paid it. Whether it was for a look or not. If she paid $2,500 twice, that means she paid $5,000 that she didn't have to, but she did. So good on her. Now, if apparently the boys lived with Simon 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 1 week off. So they were uprooted from their home. So I do think that is fair. However, the mother of the children reached out to Michelle Alien and sort of said what Simon said about the text, but basically said Porsha's statement isn't all the way true. So if you notice, Porsha said the mother was concerned. She reached out for some things from some of the kids' things from the house, and the mother was concerned. So the mother, I guess, shared that she reached out to Porsha for some bookcases that were in the boys' bedrooms that she wanted. When she reached out to get the bookcases, Porsha said, hey, I got your, she reached out to the assistant. So Porsha was like, hey, I got your message from my assistant, Lauren, about the bookcases. And I'm paraphrasing, yada, yada, yada. But also just to let you know, if there's anything else you need or want to talk about, I'm there, And then child support was mentioned. So that's how it went down. Either way, whether people want to dissect, because yes, there are times when people can say a story that happened in a misleading way to make people think one thing. At the end of the day, she paid the child support. Porsha said the mother reached out and she sounded, basically concerned about some things. She realized that Simon hadn't been paying, that of course the mother wasn't getting child support, so she paid it. I don't care. People can say whatever they want because we all have our opinions about this divorce, what's happening, Porsha, Simon, what have you. But I will say, I'm glad she paid it and good on her for doing it. Again, no matter what people think the reason is, no matter if the mother reached out to her saying, hey, I need it, or Porsha said, hey, I'm here. At least she was there and she offered help. Again, Simon saying she did it for a different reason. She paid it. So good on Porsha for paying it. All right, next up, moving on. Let's get into, Simon is getting ready to talk about the enforcement of the prenup with Porsha that he agreed to and that he signed. Let's not forget, yes, they may have gotten engaged after 30 days, but they took 11 months to hammer out the prenup. So he didn't get engaged in 30 days and then either marry me in 60 more days and sign this prenup or I won't marry you. It was none of that. Y'all took 11 months to hammer it out. You agreed to this. Let's go.
14 months.
Okay.
stating that the judge overseeing your divorce case has upheld the prenup that you guys signed before entering marriage. Are you able to share a little bit about what those terms are or look like?
That you receive $40,000 a month in alimony for the length of the marriage, which was 14 months. Okay. She gets to stay in the house, all expenses paid, including the mortgage, through for 36 months, up to 36 months. And if she chooses to own the home, she would have to, refinance the property in her name and take a 50% equity. She would have to give me 50% equity in the home.
Wow.
And so remember, she would have to, if she decided to keep the home and refinance it in her name, she would have to pay him out the 50% in equity. And I believe the equity, remember, the home was $8 million and Simon sold 2 homes and put down $2.5 million into the home. So I guess that plus whatever equity they've accumulated would be split. But you're looking, if she sold it, she would at least, if she, let's say she got the value of the home and the equity in it, the minimum she'd be walking away with it would be $1 million, right? So
I guess what is your reaction to that ruling and that decision?
It's
Reports stating that.
Is she home in bed? It doesn't even matter. I'm just looking at the backdrop. I'm like, you know those beds that I have a bed that goes up high like that with the little dots. I'm like, but no, that don't matter. All right, let's get into
the judge ruling and that decision.
It's basically what I've held from day one about this case. When I realized that I was targeted, I've had prenups in previous relationship, and I've honored those prenups without reservation. This time around, I've chosen to challenge in court all the way to the Supreme Court if I have to. This enforcement of the prenup is going to continue to receive legal challenges on the appeal front.
Okay, so you're vowing to appeal this decision for sure.
1,000% is going to be appealed.
In that decision.
I just want to hear this one more time.
It's basically what I've held from day one about this case. When I realized that I was targeted, I've had prenups in previous relationship, and I've honored those prenups without reservation. This time around, I've chosen to challenge in court all the way to the Supreme Court if I have to. This enforcement of the prenup is going to continue to receive legal challenges on the appeal front.
Okay, so you're vowing to appeal this decision for sure.
1,000% is going to be appealed.
Now, I will say this again. I go back to, unless you're saying you signed it under duress during those 11 months that you negotiated it, and you can prove that, or if it was fraud, if the marriage was fraud, like you were married under fraudulent pretenses and you could prove that, to me, I'm sorry, you are a grown man that, like you said, have had other prenuptial agreements, have had marriages before. So why did you after 11 months then agree to sign it? Is he trying to say that he really thought in the beginning Porsha loved him, but then at the end, I feel like she didn't, and this was all a setup, so that's why? I mean, because again, you agreed to it. There could have been other clauses put in, I'm sure, right? You had lawyers. The judge said y'all each had 2 good lawyers negotiating the prenup. So to me, I don't feel bad for him. I do not feel bad at all. Now, it's interesting when he says he's honored other prenups. Let's get into him and Fallon's prenup. Remember when they got divorced? And remember when he said that Porsha filed for divorce, he reached out, she wouldn't talk to him, the family wouldn't talk to him, and then the mom finally reached out, right? I will say I can see that happening. Now, Porsha said it with people that she thought, well, maybe she'll file to protect herself, but maybe they could, I guess if things on his end that he had to work out, I guess maybe the citizenship things, if that worked out, then maybe they could make it work. But that didn't happen, right? Again, she didn't say citizenship, but I'm thinking that's what she meant when she said she filed to protect herself and then thought, well, if he can get this other stuff worked out, then maybe we can get back together. That didn't happen. I can see him reaching out and her not reaching out because we've seen Porsha do that on the show or not address things on the show. People have talked about she left them on ice, Drew, like, so I can see her not responding. At the same time, she filed for divorce. So now I would say maybe she could have told him why. But at the same time, he says he found out she filed for divorce, what, from social media? Didn't Fallon say that's how she found out from Simon? So it was good for the goose. Simon found out because he had filed and then withdrew it, right? He had filed for divorce from Fallon in January and then withdrew it around Valentine's Day, right? And then he filed again and she found out like the rest of us. So maybe Porsha was your payback, your karmic payback, right? So let's see. I want to go into Simon's prenup. She said, according to Fulton County, this is from Reality Blurb. According to Fulton County court records obtained by People via Yahoo News, Simon first filed for divorce from Fallon January 15th. However, just 1 week later, he dismissed the complaint. And he said, it took me a lifetime to learn how to love someone unconditionally, even when I did not have examples of that growing up. It is never too late to learn because an empty heart is even more of a greater burden. Simon wrote in a since deleted post on Valentine's Day. I'm still learning. I'm not quite there. And quite frankly, loving someone deeply is not a destination because it does get bumpy. It's a lifetime journey. Try to get comfortable and enjoy as much of the ride as possible. Cheers to my fellow brothers that try, never give up on love. So although Simon and Fallon appeared to be giving their marriage a second chance at that point, he ultimately filed for divorce for a second time on February 19th, claiming their marriage was irretrievably broken and requesting their prenup to be enforced. 2 months later, after she and Simon publicly confirmed their split on Instagram, Fallon offered a response to Simon's divorce complaint, but denied a number of his statements, which included the two were living in a bona fide separation and that their relationship was irretrievably broken. So that's what Simon said. Fallon saying that wasn't true. As part of their agreement, Simon gave Fallon a portion of the proceeds from a property they share, which totaled $153,725.34. So I'm guessing when it says she received a portion of the property they shared, which totaled, I guess her portion was $153,725.34. And he paid her $50,000 in an equitable division payment. Let's add that up. So with cash, hold on. All right. So she got a portion of proceeds from a property they shared and $50,000 in an equitable division payment. So she received in cash $203,725.34. She walked away from their marriage with $203,725.34. As for their marital home, he put it on the market and she had to vacate by, looks like she had to vacate within a month, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I want to go back up and see. Yeah, she had to vacate by May 28th. So he filed again for divorce in February. She had to vacate the home by May 28th. So she got what? Let's just say 90 days to be out of the house. Child, so she got $203,000. Porsha is going to get $40,000 a month for the length of the time they were married, right? So is that the lump sum payout? That's 14 months. So that right there is $560,000. Then she gets to live in the house for 36 months from the time and they count that, I think, from the time she filed, with the mortgage being paid and the bills being paid. If they end up selling the home, then she gets half of, if she ends up refinancing the home or selling the home, she has to give half of the equity they have in that home. But that still means she'll probably walk away with no less than $1 million. With the money that she's saving in these 36 months, not having to pay mortgage and bills, in addition to her getting $560,000 and her legal fees paid for, which is over $200,000, I believe she said. I mean, what Porsha is getting, her legal fees that are getting, if we know that Simon is appealing it, right? But let's just say the appeal doesn't go through and he has to pay. What Porsha is getting paid for in her legal fees is more than what Fallon walked away with from their marriage in general. So I wonder, what was it about Porsha that had him negotiate a different type deal? Like I said, Fallon walked away with 200 some $1,000. Porsha's lump sum for the 40,000 times the 14 months they're married is 560,000. In addition to, again, mortgage being paid and bills being paid for 36 months. Or however many months she has left, because I think, again, it started from the time she filed for divorce. I don't believe Simon was targeted. I do not believe it. She was in your DMs. She was also in Fallon's DMs, saying she was there if y'all needed her, wishing y'all well. And you ended up getting engaged to her after 30 days. That's just not all on Porsha. We ain't gonna sit here and be like, oh, Porsha roped him in somehow or did whatever. He is grown. He is grown. I don't feel bad for Simon. I suspect he'll be doing more interviews out there. I wonder if Porsha is just gonna, remember in the beginning of the divorce when Simon was constantly on the internet, and at first Porsha wasn't saying anything, but then she started responding back because he kept having stuff to say. So I wonder if Porsha is just gonna be quiet, let it ride, or what have you. One of y'all had asked the question, is he gonna have to pay during the appeal? One of y'all said that he will have to pay what was ordered during his appeal of the prenup enforcement. But then somebody else said he wasn't going to have to pay. And is that because he's in Nigeria, or, how does that even work? I don't know. I guess we shall see. Y'all let me know what y'all think about what Simon said. Do y'all think Simon was a victim of Miss Porsha Williams? Or do y'all think that they both knew what they were getting into when they got into this marriage? I still go back, and I don't know if one of y'all answered. I've been trying to look at the comments, but to see when Porsha found out about Simon's status as a citizen, if she knew that he was still working on getting that in 2022, or was she under the guise that he was here legally because he was in and out? To me, if she didn't know and then found that out and then found out he got denied, and there's a possibility that they would deport him and then come after me for whatever they could since I'm married to him, I would have a conversation with him, I'm thinking, and maybe say, look, let's follow these steps, X, Y, and Z, in case this happens, right? I don't know, but I really would like to know when she found out, or if she knew and just figured his money was going to be able to help him take care of that paperwork. But that if y'all found out that she didn't know any of this, she thought he was here legally and he didn't share that until they were married, would that change your opinion? Like if you felt like, oh, Porsha divorced him for the money, or she was using not knowing some things about him as an excuse. If you found out she, in fact, did not know this big thing about him and him being here, would that change your opinion on Porsha and the way she moved in their divorce? Or do you still think she shouldn't have filed right away? She should have had a conversation with him first. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Hearing Simon's side after hearing Porsha and the things that we're seeing, did any of you start out feeling one way, and then the more information we learn, you change your mind? Or are y'all with y'all original school of thought, whichever way it was, whether Simon got scammed, whether the scammer got scammed, or whether Porsha did her big one and walked away with a lot. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I love y'all. About to go back out in this heat. Remember, drink some water, stay cool, and get your check. Love y'all. See ya.